Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Daily Brief. Woohoo, party! Da-da-da-da-da-da. Woo-hoo, all that kind of fun stuff. Looks like we're rocking and rolling on YouTube. We've got another action-packed episode, and of course, we've got the Federal Reserve meeting for their end of their two-day meeting today. So we're probably going to see some fireworks in the market about an hour after that event. Try not to get sucked too much into the euphoria heading into the event. Interestingly enough, we actually saw the stocks and crypto, for that matter, were very strong to begin yesterday. And I really didn't like that because you don't really like to see the stock market rally into the Fed meeting. If you are a bull, it would actually behoove us to have the stocks actually soft into that event, sort of sell the rumor, buy the news kind of idea versus buy the rumor, sell the news. So it was kind of interesting when I checked in later on in the day, and I saw that stocks actually softened there through the day yesterday, and I see that they were on a down note first thing this morning. I haven't looked just in the past few minutes. But I actually did some business in the stock market. We had a really fun TRI secret options formula meeting last night. Zach, one of our absolute superstars coming out of the level 3 program, is super jazzed about running a TRI SOF portfolio that he and I decided every Tuesday we're going to meet and review ideas. Didn't really see anything option-wise that really jumped out at me, but there was one stock in particular. Maybe I'll talk about it in a few minutes. I tweeted it out just a few minutes ago that I picked up. And if you are interested in stocks, maybe take a good look at that, but we'll talk about that later. And then, of course, with regard to the broader market and all the big indexes and all that kind of stuff, I don't think it's a good idea for us to make any huge bets on macro moving markets until the Fed is done. The stock I bought was just a little, 13 million shares out, nice and cheap. So it should be an action-packed episode. We, as Colleen points out, it is the first day of spring today. Happy spring, everybody. And it's kind of a sad note for Brian. 18th of March is the worst day of my life, but nonetheless, we got to get through this stuff. So it's a bit of a tough slog for Brian. But on that note, actually, I had a very good little quick conversation with my co-hosts and my anchors here before we got going, and they made me feel a little bit better. So thank you guys. So speaking of which, Alex, Mayor of Vienna, driving the bus as always. How you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, sir, I'm pretty good, and yeah, you hang in there, I guess.
Thanks, man. Anyway, don't want to get too mired down in that kind of stuff. They were supposed to be all upbeat for you guys, so I'll take do we have any Brits on the call this morning? Usually we got lots of Brits around here, but anyway, stiff upper lip, all that kind of fun stuff. We got the show must go on for you. So speaking of which, we got a stiff upper Philly cheesesteak lip. I don't know whether we can say that or not, but anyway, we got Thomas on the call this morning. How you doing this morning, Thomas?
Sorry, what were we saying is stiff?
Stiff cheesesteak, right?
Oh, is that
it? Isn't that when you think of Philadelphia, we should probably ask the Europeans, what's the first thing that you think of when you think of Philadelphia? I always think cheesesteak. I don't know why.
I think the Europeans think of Rocky. Yeah, Axel's got that. And then
Rocky Balboa, eh? Oh yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you should hear the French people try to pronounce Rocky Balboa. It's quite entertaining. Rocky Balboa.
All right. Well, regardless, how you doing this morning, sir?
I'm good. I'm excited for this winter time stuff to finally be over. Get some nice vitamin D and maybe catch some beach time because I'm sick and tired of wearing a jacket. And I'm sick of crypto winter too, Axel.
Yeah, well, and actually somebody was in the lounge saying that this officially starts the crypto season. So there we go. Maybe that's a good omen going forward. But anyway, So because we do have you on the show, it actually makes my life a little easier. You have such a well laid out path for us. So, sir, where do you feel like starting our conversation today?
Well, you were right on the money, talking about how the Dow kind of did a belly flop at the end of the day yesterday. It was up, it was positive most of the day, and then I lost track of what was going on. And I checked after closing, and I couldn't believe the thing was down. So, like you said, again, opened up today negative. We're down about 130 some odd points today. And things, I mean, they don't look cataclysmic, but it's certainly not good going into a Fed meeting. I'd rather see the market rallying into a Fed meeting because I would like to see the market come off a bit here and give me another buying opportunity.
I was wondering when you said that. So you actually want to get some cheaper prices to be a buyer, right?
Yeah, but then if you go and look at as the non-technical analysts say in the macro world, let's take a look at the squiggles and see what they tell us. You hear those guys talking shit about the technical analysts. They're like, "Oh, show us what your squiggles tell you."
That's the macro voices guy who went off and did his own little show with his buddy.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Market Huddle. They get they somehow found a bunch of guys to sponsor the show, and they only get beer companies. So for about 2 hours, they're cracking open these beers. And
by the end of it, they get a little bit sloppy, eh?
Yeah. No, my favorite was one of the beers they opened up. They read the description, and they're like, "Well, it's supposed to have earthy notes of pine." And then they take a sip, and the guy's like, "Well, I can taste the earthy notes. I don't know if I agree that it's pine. It's more like a spruce taste to me." I'm like, "You freaking Canadians."
Oh, are they both Canadian?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the guys on there, he's not really that impressed with technical analysis, eh?
Yeah, they call him the macro tourist. He works for a fund, and he puts out a newsletter based on what he sees happening around the world and based on fundamentals as opposed to technicals. And you put together a fundamentalist and a technical analyst, and you get a pretty decent show. With
theoretically, isn't that what we're supposed to be doing around here?
That's what I was trying. I mean, I was getting there, but yeah, somehow we managed to put the puzzle pieces together, and it's amazing how 1 + 1 equals what does it equal these days? I've lost track. It's like either 2, 3, or 10,000.
Where's Joshua? I love how Joshua he puts out like 5,262 or something like that. He always has this crazy ass number. 1 + 1 equals 1,000,000. Anyway, it's all good. I see you over there on YouTube, Joshua. But fundamentally, I think we can make the argument that we're extremely late in the economic cycle. And politically, things are very unstable around the world right now. And of course, we talk lots about the world swimming in debt and the relative worthlessness of our currencies. And then technically, we put this together, and the irony of it all, you had the Dow up on your chart earlier. I happen to have a Dow chart just on my screen, and I was fascinated to see some of this technical event here. In essence, we've already put in a double top breakdown on the Dow. This happens to be a big celestial event that would really screw with their heads, eh? If we start talking GAN and start talking EVUs and stuff. I don't even know, does that fall into technical analysis, or is that more celestial analysis? Anyway, but also too, I thought this was really cool. We had a bullish engulfing bar, and basically the technical target of the bullish engulfing bar should be the distance of the bar. And look at yesterday's high. I mean, that's crazy. I can't believe how close that came. And then everybody should know exactly what this 3-bar pattern here looks like. Where's my guinea pig? Colleen, where are you? Hey, there you are. Look at that. She even answered before I even called her name. Way to go. Yeah, I mean, that's a nice empire that's forming here. Now, the interesting thing is the Fed might come out and say, oh, no, we think everything's fine. We're not going to raise rates. We think the economy's doing great. Inflation's really low. And by the end of today, this goddamn thing could ratchet back up here. So don't, yes, it looks ugly right now, but this is why I always say don't trust the first hour of trading following that Fed announcement event. But technically speaking, I gotta say this is almost cliche in the way that everything is playing out here. It's quite remarkable, really. But anyway, sorry for the interruption there. So what were you thinking, squiggly line wise? Was there something you wanted to add to the equation? Look at that S&P 500. That is such a pretty little fractal up top there. That could be a nice little. I've been waiting. We got divergence. We had location. I was just waiting for some sort of structure to help us frame the trade. If that fractal comes in, I think I might even go shopping for some puts.
Yeah, this is what is being referred to as the prairie dog, where you see that the market's consistently topped out at this 280 level, rejected once, twice, 3 times, a lady, 4 times, and then here it pops up and then comes back down. So that's your prairie dog event where it pokes.
I think you could throw in a 5 there too as well, eh? That high looks like late February,
sure,
maybe early March.
The key here is this thing popped above those levels, stuck its head up out of the ground, and it was like, nah, and then it came back down again. Now the question is, will it go back down?
Right.
It's a little early to tell, but
you could very easily see everybody here. I've seen this happen so many times. That last hour, the whole stock market just might have a big fucking rally, and this thing goes and closes at new highs. So, this should be a really interesting lesson what happens through the end of today here.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some kind of article here because it looks like there might have been some leaked information about, or something happened during a press conference that Powell may have said. So the market might be reacting to that, but I'm not seeing anything really useful on the wires here as far as what could be pushing this thing. I don't know if this is just a setup before the Fed meeting. Who knows? He comes out today and says, well, I think we're going to continue our dovish stance, and we're just going to keep interest rates the way they are. We're not going to raise them, and we'll probably start considering lowering them. And then the Federal Reserve will be tempted or contemplating the potential for further easing. Then you'd see the market.
To that zero hedge guy, I hear a lot of people have a real mixed message about him.
Well, I like the content. I think there's a lot of negativity. The world is ending every day. All of the markets are going to crash yesterday. And if you can see past that stuff and just get into the nuances and the details in which the message they're trying to deliver, you can dissect some really useful information out of it. But if you're kind of like doom and gloom, this is only going to force you further into that rabbit hole. But they do get some good content, and they do get some unique content. So unique, in fact, that Zero Hedge was banned in New Zealand. So you can't actually go to this website there, which I think is a dangerous precedent to set. You can't start censoring things. I mean, China already has their great firewall, but everyone's kind of accepted that China is crazy about what content they let their people see. Now, as far as a country like New Zealand, that I think is crazy. The fact
you want to see the easiest way to get executed in China?
Yeah, so I know not to do it when I go there.
Okay, I'll show you. The easiest way to get executed in the country of China today is to, let's see if I can show you. I don't know how to spell it though. Oh, there he is. Is to show a picture of this guy. That's the easiest way for you to basically be sent to purgatory. Isn't that incredible?
Oh, is that because the president looks like him?
Yeah, that's the big joke, eh?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. There was a political dissident who was recently mysteriously died in prison. Yeah, he was executed. And one of the last images that he showed was he was meeting with another person, and they were holding up coffee cups. And on the coffee cup was the icon of Winnie the Pooh. Isn't that hilarious?
I think it's crazy. Like, why the fuck would you kill your people because they're showing a picture of a cartoon character? Like, how sensitive?
Because this son of a bitch is a totalitarian dictator.
This is what's so scary. A shit like this is it's proliferating throughout the whole world. It's
China banned
horrifying.
Winnie the Pooh. Isn't that incredible? I don't know whether I'm showing. I'm probably gonna get. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody pops up here and knocks me off for doing this. You know.
Aren't
So
there a lot of real estate investors over there that might have connections?
it wouldn't surprise me. After my dream last night, I'm ready to go. If it's my time, that's fine by me.
Oh no, I'd have to do the show by myself. Don't you dare leave.
Hey, oh yeah, James, look at what James put up here. I thought this is funny. So James just put in the loud. I think this was James. Yeah, it was this picture. So anyway, long and short of it here is this is the kind of world that we live in. And the worst part about all this is that these stupid humans, it's like ebb and flow. We go through these periods of, democracy and freedom and all that kind of stuff. And then we go through periods of like absolute insanity. And of course, everybody knows what happened in Europe through their cycle last century. So I don't know how bad this has to get, but just be prepared, everybody. This we could be transitioning into a very, very tough couple decades here.
Yeah, and everyone wonders.
Anyway, happy, joy. Sorry.
Everyone wonders why we haven't been visited by any aliens. They take a look at us and they're like, "Nope, next."
Yeah, I think we'll take a left at that planet.
Like, let's let them give them a couple centuries and see if they get their shit together. Those idiots are still using money systems. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and you often make that. You often wonder, the evolution of the internet, and now sort of the decentralization of the currency system. I actually put a tweet out from Milton Friedman, and if any of you are historians and economic historians, incredibly famous economist, and he actually made the prediction of this digital internet money like 30, 40 years ago. I tweeted that out recently. I thought that was kind of interesting. But I'm sorry, I totally derailed you again.
It's fine. We're on a runaway train. We can go wherever we want. But there is one thing that I think we should talk about, and this is FedEx coming out with an announcement. And they quote unquote, they're quoted to say, slowing international macroeconomic conditions are basically and weaker global trade growth trends continue as seen in the year-over-year decline in our FedEx Express international revenue. If there's any barometer for macroeconomic health, I think FedEx is a fantastic one. And the fact that they look like shit doesn't bode well for anybody.
So, and this is getting back to your original, you brought this up a while ago. Stocks were going to new highs. Dow is rocking and rolling. Transports are not. Transports getting absolutely their asses kicked today. Do you have like a FedEx chart on there?
Yep.
Is it just getting pummeled?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It gapped way the fuck lower. God, I wanted to. This was one of my watch lists to buy puts on.
Oh, what it coulda, shoulda.
That was yesterday.
And then also too, this is thanks to Jamie. I think everybody should have this on their screen if you play the stock market at all. This relationship of the Dow and the Russell 2000. When the Dow's outperforming the Russell 2000, that's usually a bearish sign for the broader economy. When the Russell 2000 is outperforming the Dow, that's usually a positive, happy. And notice there is that market bottom through Christmas. And we've enjoyed a pretty happy, healthy rally here over the past 2 or 3 months in the stock market. But lo and behold, here comes some more W's, implying that that people are not so jazzed about the small stocks anymore. So put your message about the transports, couple it with what we're seeing out of the Russell 2000. And I hope you guys enjoyed that rally. Sure was fun, wasn't it? Now we go back into, all right, what short ETF proxy are we going to be hunting now? So, and I don't know how this translates to crypto. I mean, I've heard lots of people say that theoretically the stock market and crypto should be highly correlated. I thought it was really interesting if we go back and look back in previous years. In crypto, that last sort of cycle, 2014, 2015, Let's see. Oh, of course, I never have it on my screen. But anyway, I'm calling this Chop Vegas right now, but really interesting to see through March. I don't know whether everybody can see my screen here, but basically March right through to the 16th, 17th, the market broke on the 18th of March, and we had to go through basically about a couple months of crap. So, if the stock market has to roll over here, we've talked about the beware of the Ides of March, blah, blah, blah. Look at that transports. Oh, yeah, that looks like a train wreck. So as Thomas has on his screen, maybe why don't we hop back over to Thomas and let him continue? Yeah, it could be a bit of a tough slog here for the next little while, people.
Yeah, here's a chart of the Dow Transport average here, and this thing doesn't look good, to say the least. I think what we've got here is a definitive MACD bear divergence, where you see a clear disconnect between the rise in price, declining momentum. This was confirmed on this dump here. And then I guess if you want, this is probably interesting to see, did we actually get into reload zones on the transports? And we did. We popped up and then just got rejected at the end of the day yesterday. And today, it just, I'm guessing that FedEx is a big reason for that. What's the biggest? I think the biggest.
Also, too, remember, this whole Boeing stuff, right? And then now, and it's fascinating how life can give you just these little brief instances, and all of a sudden your life changes forever. I don't know whether you guys remember about 4 or 5 years ago, there was I think it was Southwest Airlines. I'm not quite sure, but there was a plane that was going down over the Hudson, and the pilot literally saved everybody's life. It's quite remarkable.
Sully Sullivan.
Yeah, and literally he's become like a hero now. And he even publicly came out just the other day and just said, we are losing all respect around the world over this Boeing shit because these stupid fucking bureaucrats are owned by these corporations, and they just sort of pass the buck. Even Trump just yesterday announced the new head of the FAA is going to be some old fucking airline executive dude. I mean, it's incredible how all of these companies basically own the political system. I just find it fascinating that if I understand correctly, there is a major problem with these 737 planes, and Boeing just basically bought the politicians to say nothing, which is incredible. And this is having reverberating effects, and if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the airline stocks themselves are under a bit of trouble. Pull up American Airlines, Delta, all of these kind of, look at that. I mean, that's not a bull market. Southwest, I think, was probably one of the best performing ones. Oh boy. So not only are you seeing it, and I think it's powerful message that a transport like FedEx, which is sort of the backbone of the economy, especially in this sort of Amazon world we live in, they're basically saying, look at things are getting tough here, and then to add insult to injury, we have this Boeing issue where a lot of the airlines, there's I've heard a lot of people say, holy shit, I'm flying this. God, I sure hope to God I'm not on a 737. So, and if anything, what I see there is a classic, this is a bearish consult. Well, I can't say that for certain, but this to me looks like a bear flag. And if you just draw a little trend lines off of that big red bars high and the subsequent high, and then draw a little trend line off of just the that red doji's low off of these recent lows. Well, I would even, that's the bigger formation. Let's see if I can just throw it on here. And I apologize, guys, if I get a little bit weepy and a little bit odd sounding. As I said earlier, this is a kind of a tough time for me right now. So I might be a little bit emotional. I'm sorry, everyone. But obviously, Sully is definitely tugs at my heartstrings. A living angel. Okay, so what was that? That was Boeing. So to me, when I see this kind of chart pattern, what I see is boobity boo, and then boobity boo. So there is your pennant, maybe. And if you think gap and go, and interestingly enough, gap and go signal actually already did fire. So if we just clone that, then probably we're looking at something like down into here. And gee whiz, what a coincidence. There's a big old gap just sitting right at that target objective, eh? So I don't know whether there's a trade here because we're coming so late to the party, but you know. And the interesting thing about this too is, and this is such a powerful message because we see it in crypto all the time. But who can tell me what letter of the alphabet does that look like? It should be a pretty easy answer. You know, lower lows, V bottom, lower lows, V bottom, lower lows, V bottom, straight up. The irony of it all is this level has to be tested at some point down the road here. So, yeah, it's good. It's going to be a bit of a tough slog here for the next while, folks. I really do believe so. Anyway,
Yeah.
party. Sorry to be raining on people's parades.
It's all your fault. You can directly influence the markets, and what do?
Squiggly lines. That's what I do.
Wiggle all over your charts. You're like a 2-year-old.
Wait a minute. Now we're going on a different direction.
Hand you some crayons and let you go to work.
All right.
So
squiggly line theory for the win. I always love doing those.
You know, it always seems to work. I guess we should probably run through our dollar gold crap and get that out of the way. Dollar today, it's trying to figure out a direction still. Again, Fed meeting today, but nothing really new here in the dollar sense. The interesting thing that I'm seeing, though, is that there seems to be some weakness entering the gold market. Despite the, it's like, I wouldn't even call this relative strength on the dollar, right? This is up maybe a fraction of 0.25%. And gold seems to be gumming off about 0.5%. This doesn't look too good. The fact that this hasn't gotten all the way up there. I mean, this is like a no man's land trade. This is really tough, right? I'm still sitting in my SLV puts. Time is ticking on my clock. I think I gave myself, maybe I gave myself until July on my 14, and I'll have to check that later. But regardless, I'm still sitting in my 1450 puts. I already sold half on a double. I did have a triple at one point, did not take anything, so hisk on me, but I still think this thing's going lower. This is one of the messiest charts I think I've seen. I mean, gap and go up, gap and go down.
Maybe it might be an idea to throw on like the silver futures chart. The problem that I've noticed with the silver ETF is that, man, this thing just is Swiss cheese all the time. Eh?
Yeah, the problem is there's no way to buy options on this thing unless you're playing the ETF. And here's the spot market. It's a lot cleaner and actually a lot more reminiscent of the gold chart. So this also has a bearish.
That's interesting. Alex even just said Ray barbecue shorts. And I think I'd have to agree with him there. Was that on gold, Alex? Didn't look at the momentum, but I don't know. Do you have an RSI or a Willie on your chart? No, Ray. Remember, Ray loves his Williams percentage R, right?
Does this count?
Yeah, if I can get my chart to work here. Okay, what do I have to do here? Williams percentage R. That's an excellent observation. What the hell's going on here now? Sorry, everyone. Give me a second. Williams percentage R. There we are. Okay, let's see what you got. I don't know. I don't think I would get the Ray barbecue signal here off of the dailies. Maybe like a 4-hour or something. Ah, there you go. So Ray would like this failure here. I don't know whether you can see my screen or not. And was that, I think I saw on your chart that was a 38.2, eh? So I think, where's 38? Yeah. It's not bad. It's 4 hour though. So I don't know whether we'd get that off of the dailies. Williams percentage are still pointing up there. So sorry for interrupting.
I don't know if I would fire
about silver. He's talking about silver. Sorry.
Oh, on SLV or XAG? Oh, I see. He'd probably be talking about this. I don't know. I mean, this one, the ETF is so messed up. You either get a great fill or you don't get any SOF on this thing. It's, you know, I'm short from up here. I got in on something like this tail or wick. But I mean, I'd be careful playing this, right? This is a very crazy ETF. I would almost compare it to the VIX in terms of the pricing structure. It's screwed up. But the problem is,
you guys have heard my stories about the silver COMEX traders. They are horrible.
They're all crooked.
Borderline criminal.
Yeah.
So silver's a funny creature. It sure is, isn't it?
Speaking of the VIXy, here we have Mr. VIX poking his head up again. I'm not sure if this just isn't a gap fill play. A little, you know, I'm still holding my VIX calls that I have until July on. But this thing, I think it just wants to squeeze everybody because everywhere you look on Twitter, oh, VIX hasn't been this low in so long. It's been so long since the VIX made a new high. All these amateur traders are all like, long the VIX, buy calls, we're going to get rich. And I'm like, oh, fuck, do I really need to hold this position until July? And I don't know. I mean, I don't see any clear-cut signal.
What's your strike?
The $20 strike. So I'm getting further and further away. But, you know, the position's not decaying enough for me to really have to blow it out yet. And I think I'll be okay, right? The last time we got a good signal on the VIX was this market structure W, but didn't give us anything, right? Most of the moves that you see on the VIX are like V bottoms and V tops. And I'm kind of hoping that's what this is. Maybe this thing just ramps up, gives me a quick $22 strike here, and I'll just blow the position out because I'm sick of holding this thing.
There's a cheeky there's lots of gaps up top. So
there are. I've got a couple highlighted.
Ratchet this thing. It's got room to run. Yeah.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, maybe not blow out the whole.
You're gonna have to adjust your zero line on your fib though now.
Oh, you're right. Good call. This needs to be coming down.
So yeah, interesting. 38.2 is gonna line up with those highs from back in January, eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Well, fingers crossed for you. I hope you do okay.
This is a long position to hold, but hey, sometimes patience is a virtue, as they say. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. Well, we're half an hour into the show. I mean, I think all of this stuff, the problem is I don't trust any of these moves right now. I think this is all bullshit because the markets are just like, all right, let's put it on free mode and just let everything sail around like a chicken with its head cut off. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. So if you're trading the market today, I hope you're not taking long-term positions just yet. If you are, hopefully you have your plans in place and you know what you're doing because I don't know what I'm doing yet. The Fed needs to tell me what to do, and that'll give me direction until the next Fed meeting. But you know, once Powell flip-flopped and said, all right, I'm the market's bitch, the market's like, all right, party on. And it's been nothing but smooth sailing. And if he says anything other than that, I think it's time to take a dip into the pool here.
Look at crude just rocking it here, eh?
Yeah.
You know, is this head fake heading into the meeting? I don't know.
Well, here was the time to buy unleaded, middle of February. And
oh, I know. It's damn fucking seasonal trades. Drive you crazy. Where is that? Look at this. All right, look at this unleaded gasoline. Jesus, that's ridiculous.
Is that RBOB or what do you?
Yeah, it's straight up. Look at me, I'm a bull.
Yeah, amazing. The stuff you teach us actually works. Go figure.
It's squiggly lines.
Squiggly line theory for the win. Financials prairie dog too. Wow.
Yeah. Now this is interesting because and it would make sense because theoretically the banks are supposed to rally um, if the Fed is raising rates because it means the economy is stronger. It means the yield curve should be nice and wide, and bank profits should be very healthy. So a bit surprised to see these financials coming off as hard as they are. I'm not quite sure how to interpret this. I actually thought, based on the first 2 week study, that we would see a little bit more strength out of the financials, but they're just not there right now. So
Yeah.
fascinating.
All right. I think that should wrap up most of. I was playing around with a couple of pharma names, but nothing too crazy. I'm looking at this Altria. This isn't really a pharma name, but it's
They're
like
now a hot stock.
yeah, this is kind of like a pot stock. They're calling it a consumer non-cyclical tobacco, but they own a large portion of Kron.
Yeah.
And this thing looks a bit heavy here. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go shopping for some puts. A bit early. But this is on my watch list. I think Tilray looked like crap last week. This thing made new lows. I'm not touching this thing with a 50-foot pole yet. And then Canopy Growth. I mean, all the pot stocks look kind of stuck. I think they're waiting for earnings season. Who's the first one that reports? I forget. Is it this guy?
I thought I saw Tilray reported, but gee whiz, that's an outside downside reversal there yesterday, isn't it?
On this one or Tilray?
Tilray?
Yeah, Tilray.
Yeah, look at that. Son of a bitch. You don't see that every day.
Inside, outside, upside down. Say it again.
Outside, downside, and that's a key reversal too.
Outside,
Two previous
downside,
bars.
right.
In fact, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 previous sessions it engulfed. I don't know, man. That's awfully tough.
That's a hungry looking bar.
Yeah, exactly. Nom nom nom, eh?
Yeah, there's some Pac-Man action.
I was actually really surprised. It totally shocked me, but I had lost focus. I've sort of talked about how I thought the pot sector was kind of like the fluffy part of the market, and I had bought this up here, and I got chicken shit and said, "Fuck it," I don't want to be in this thing, and just bailed. And watched it sort of drift its way lower, but it looks like I missed a hell of a little double bottom that came in yesterday on this thing. There's this isodol, but geez, that's probably just, that might even paint an inside bar failure tomorrow. And I've been noticing that on a lot of stocks too. This is getting a little disturbing where stocks jump up and then basically, and this typically happened. I mean, you guys see this happen in altcoins all the time, where they have their sort of big face rip, and then they spend the next month or two just working their way back down. So we've kind of seen that on the Blink. It had its big monster rally, then puts in an M and is working its way back down. And my little Greek shipping company, same sort of thing. I mean, look at this. It's borderline criminal what they're doing here, because this thing put in a beautiful little bottom, and then in one day they actually opened it up right here. And thank heavens I was, paying attention and on the ball. I blew out, got my free position, and since that event, it's just been nothing but straight back down, since then. Very suspicious market here. This is not a bull. This feels very, very suspicious. So anyway, it is what it is. Really interesting to see a couple of the, and I don't know what this specific story is, but both this Riot and Hive have actually been moving higher as crypto stocks, while most of the other names in the space, like that HUD-8, still working its way lower. This DMG we were looking at recently, and then I love my little VSC promoter stock, just basically sitting right where his director's along, and I think he's just parked the stock here. But also too, this blockchain K2 is a little disappointed that this thing is just not done anything. But I don't know what the story is out of Riot and Hive. You can see that their charts are very similar, so they must be connected somehow. And I don't know what the story is offhand, but they've really been able to buck the overall trend. So I'm pretty pleased for that for them. Is there anything? Oh, I did go and actually buy. I bought. It's ironic that we're seeing oil move up here because I went and bought an oil stock. And I suppose we'll finish off maybe the stock conversation. And I even tweeted this out, but we had a fun meeting last night, the TRI SOF crew. We actually had a few energy stocks, oil stocks that look really interesting. Gaps down below, so I'm not going to chase anything here, especially in options land. But this SRC Energy, hopefully everybody can see the very wide double bottom that's trying to come in there. That'll be like a weekly double bottom. There was a Canadian oil stock that came up on our screen as well. Baytex. This guy here, hopefully everybody can see the W's that are trying to form here. Lots and lots of upside potential if this thing can get going. And then, as I said just a moment ago, I actually went and just bought this little thing here this morning. Same sort of logic. I mean, I'm not looking for a home run, but if I can get a nice tag at the 50% level, that basically gives me just about a double. So I'm feeling pretty good about the energy sector. And of course, we showed you that energy chart. The crude oil chart's moving higher. So, that's the kind of place that I'm shopping in the stock market right now in energy. Boring. But all right, is there anything else you want to talk about in Stockland, or shall we move on to crypto?
Yeah, let's move away from the stocks. We got to wait for Mr. Powell to yip yap and be the market's bitch a second time. I just love saying that. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So, do we want to listen to Jamie to get our crypto story going, or do we want to listen to the mariachis?
Play them both together.
Oh, that might be interesting. Let's see if we can do that. I think I have it over here, and here is the mariachis. And then we'll play Jamie in the background. Let's see what happens. And then we'll listen to the mariachis. I think I'm going to have to time these a little bit better.
Yeah, your DJ days are behind you.
Ole! All right, on that note, what should we talk about Bitcoin?
What should we talk about Bitcoin? Well, I've got a personal note that I just saw in my email that my Mt. Gox claim got approved. Whoopie-doopie.
Hey, right on. Way to go, dude.
Yeah, that's only the second time that they've had to do that. And God forbid there's a third time. But there was a creditors meeting today, and basically same old shit. We're going to have to wait for the next one before they figure out what to do. But the CoinLab lawsuit put that all on the back burner, and it's
we're looking at Tosa Genetics.
Yeah, I'm just yapping away. Nothing to share on that. Just wanted to show or discuss that.
I thought it was really interesting. Alex's sort of thesis of maybe we're going to have history repeat itself seems to be incredibly consistent. Big, and I think Alex, just to sort of start us off here, disregard all the background stuff here. I suppose we can take this stuff off of here now. But Alex, I think, and he had just a cute little study. But if we go from say here up into this event here, we'll just do like a ghost pattern. And then, it's not exactly the same time frame, but if we stretch that out a little bit, it's interesting how there's a lot of correlation between the way price acted through this move. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this was right around a Fed announcement event, and the way that the market is acting here. So big up, big up, pull back, consolidation with a break to higher, consolidation with the break higher, and then interesting big doji, inside bar, and then so big doji, inside bar, and now the question is, do we now? I mean, this might go either direction. Impossible, to really predict, if you will. I think Alex is giving me a new image here. There we are. So let's see what he has here. So yeah, wondering whether number 6 is going to form here. And then, as I had sort of said to begin the conversation today, I'm a little bit worried that when we look back on the last Chop Vegas market, this thing topped out right in the middle of March and then worked its way lower for about the next month or two to finally bottom there the end of April, beginning of May. So do we have that in store for us? I don't know. I mean, the problem here right now, of course, is this is a horrible trade location to be a buyer. And as I sort of painted on this chart, and I tweeted this out last night. I don't know if I'm showing the right screen here. I sure hope I am. But there is sort of that market symmetry study. We're riding along this trend line. And if we lose this trend line here today, I think, probably, we could see a little bit of tough sledding ahead of us. So I just told everybody on Twitter, and I think we ought to just tell the community, just don't be shocked if price has to come off here on the other side of the Fed. If the Fed comes out and says, looks like everything's hunky-dory in the economy, we can go back to our interest rate rising policy, I could very easily see, as a risk-on proxy, stocks, commodities, crypto as a commodity, get a bit soft here. Don't be shocked if you see that happen, people. All right, so that's my sort of rant there. Well, you got some news or anything you want us to review here?
Yeah, so like yesterday when we saw with the international or the ICE international, what does it stand for? International Continental Exchange? I don't know why I can't get that acronym right, but basically it's the parent company for Bakkt. Yesterday they came out and said that they were going to support a large list of cryptocurrency price tickers. They were going to provide data for that so that you don't have to go to 17 different exchanges to figure out what the price might be. Today, NASDAQ, Bloomberg, and Reuters said that they're going to take the price of these crypto coins from CoinMarketCap, and they're going to cover the top 200 cryptocurrencies by capitalization, including Bitcoin, and then the other is going to not include Bitcoin as its benchmark indices. So you're going to see two different ones. The first one is the CMC Crypto 200 Index, which includes Bitcoin, and then the CMC Index 200 X Bitcoin, denominated CMC 200X, tracks that market without Bitcoin in it. So now I'm wondering if they're just setting this thing up to have like ETFs, kind of like what we thought with the ICE announcement yesterday. It'll be like a nice basket. This was kind of what Coinbase wanted to do originally, but it was too much of a securities offering, and Coinbase wasn't enough of a company that was positioned well to offer a product like that. However, you can
not enough politicians. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they had the lunch money, or they weren't the bullies on the block to beat up the kid for his lunch money, kind of like NASDAQ, Bloomberg, and Reuters are. Those guys are big deals, and they probably beat up Coinbase and stole their lunch money. Like, hey, listen, kid, you want to offer those products? You better get your shit together. And Coinbase is like,
my fucking ass.
Hey, that's the way the markets work, right? It sucks. But anyway, the point here is this is now coming out in full force. You've got a lot of these products being offered by these big companies. Crypto has arrived on Wall Street, whether you like it or not, or whether you care to admit it or not. Make no mistake, this is that. Crypto has arrived, and it's not the giant price increase everyone was expecting. So that's just to get all of the groundwork in place to allow institutions to create products that fit within their ecosystem to be able to safely invest in them. Now, what does that mean for the price? So far, nothing. Does it mean it's going to go up in the end? I mean, it's crypto. Any damn thing could happen. But the point is that institutional money can eventually be properly positioned into this thing. Whether or not that's long is another question. Whether it was short, we certainly saw that out of the CME CBOE contracts that they launched specifically for what it seems like some cronies who were like, listen, I need a way to short the shit out of Bitcoin at 20 grand. Who do we have to pay off in the government to get this thing going immediately? And sure enough, all the fat cats sitting on the beach smoking their cigars are laughing their asses off right now because they're having the last laugh, unfortunately.
And of course, where did they do it? CBOEA.
That's incredible.
The place is so, I mean, it's almost as bad as the COMEX silver guys.
Yeah.
I thought this was really interesting. Alex, do you want to maybe come off mute? Alex just sent me this image of Korean Bitcoins.
Sure, yeah. It seems like the Korean markets is actually looking a little more bullish than the rest of it, yeah. And
yeah, that looks very cup and handily.
Totally. And if you want to maybe pull up a GBTC chart, looks like we were having a attempt at breaking out the inverse head and shoulders bottom there.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple of the Twitter kids were going on about GBTC. Where should we put that? We'll put here GBTC. Now the problem with this silly thing is it's very, very manipulated. Wow, yeah, look at that, son of a gun. So interesting. Maybe we're gonna get back to the kimchi premium days. Remember those days?
Yeah,
a lot of fun. I don't know what screen we're showing.
We're showing yours. Well, for now, it's still a failed breakout, right? So you really want to close it above that level.
Right, totally. In fact, you know, if we just probably the key here is, like you said, clothesline basis. So a hugely important level. And the problem here too, right, is that we've got Fed. Does the Fed come along and just shit all over us? Tough to say. This is actually a really good commentary, though, on volume profile. Can everybody see how the profile is very thick through here? This is what we would call a fully explored range. So if this thing is ready to go, the profile here is actually saying that it's ready to rock and roll. So excellent commentary there, Alex. Excellent stuff. Yeah, do we get back to the days of kimchi? I mean, look at the OBV, eh? Jesus, money's just pouring into this thing. And a beautiful breakout there on Willie. So, great stuff, Alex. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, Mr. Bear, I apologize. Alex just sent me that, and I thought that it was so important that I got to interrupt this headline with the breaking news. Sorry. Okay, go ahead, Thomas. Sorry to do that to you.
Yeah. So this is it's the news for that segment. The next thing that should be. Oh man, why is this still here? Oh, right. Okay. The other thing is just CFTC is interested in Ethereum smart contract features. I wonder why. What could the CFTC possibly be up to? I don't actually know, but it is interesting to see that an organization like this is interested in those features. Maybe they start using smart contracts to settle some of the other markets. I don't know. Maybe they like the way that this market functions. It might be, or the way that smart contracts function, and it may end up being able to save them money in some sense or making their market more efficient. But there's a lot of use case for the smart contracts that Ethereum features, and I think there's a lot of sort of open sourceness to the ability to create whatever you really need here. And I think it is a product that CFTC might be able to find a way to make use of in a productive way, and in somehow makes Ethereum more productive than it is right now, because all the altcoins that were built on that thing don't seem to be doing so well. But nonetheless, CFTC is taking interest in that. And then yesterday we talked about Binance and their initial exchange offering, where this seller network ran their ICO through Binance's exchange, where roughly 39,000 people tried to take advantage of that token sale, but they weren't able to actually buy what they wanted to because the site wasn't set up properly and they had a bunch of hiccups. And according to this, only 3,000 out of the 3,900, which is terrible, were able to actually get their tokens. And the interesting thing here is that in order to participate in this, you could only use Binance coins. So you had to go on their exchange, you had to buy Binance coin, and then you would be able to buy some of these tokens. Well, if only 3,000 people were able to participate and the other 36,000 people were not, and they specifically bought Binance coin to invest in this token sale, I wonder what happened to Binance coin over the last couple of days here. According to this article, roughly 5% drop happened to the BNB USD chart, but it's still up about 60%. So Binance has figured out a way of having a use case for a cryptocurrency that shouldn't normally have a use case, but if you want to participate on their site, you got to use their coin, which really is brilliant.
Walton's coin you're showing right now?
No, I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time, but I'll eventually get there. But thanks.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the Binance chart up here, and I found this fascinating because somebody, months ago was like, "Oh, what do you think of Binance coin and all that?" And I was like, "Well, why would I buy this thing? I don't understand. It's not really a cryptocurrency." But now what you're saying makes a heck of a lot of sense. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so this is going to keep happening, right? Binance coin is going to be the standard for participation on this thing. And
whether all these people bought this Binance coin to participate in this thing and they did not participate, are they still holding these Binance coins then?
What is it? Does it look like it to you on the chart?
Yeah, it does look like they're still holding, but we could see just a massive dump here, right? And then all these people that bought all the way up top here are going to get just crushed, and this has got just scandal written all over it.
Yeah, I think the smart money started selling once they realized, oh shit, we can't buy in here, and if we can't buy in here, no one else can buy in here, and that's
look at your OPV. It's just like crashing, eh?
Yeah, this is called the staircase setup, where as you
I like it. Somebody quote that guy.
This doesn't look good. This is a 4-hour chart. You can see clear market structure top. Divergence in play. Do we have a confirmed divergence? It's about to continue. Anyone know a way to short this thing?
Oh, what a headache, eh? Fuck. And that's the thing, right? Is ironically enough, in crypto, we haven't had a massive scandal since Quadriga, right? And that's really actually like last fall that broke. So these guys, this is a classic sort of, you get too close to the sun, right? What's that old proverb or whatever? Like the guys that made wings out of wax or something
Icarus.
like that. And you fly too close to the sun, your wings melt and you're toast.
Well, you shouldn't make wings out of wax. That's probably the lesson to learn.
That's not a bad idea. So I've always had the feeling that the guy running Binance is flirting with the devil. One of these times, one of these things is going to backfire, and wow, the shit is just going to hit the fan.
Well, the problem I see is that as long as they continue to offer these services through their site, they're still relatively credible, and a hiccup like this, while it leaves a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, I think that they're going to fix it. Obviously, they have to. And the next few times, they'll probably make sure they don't fuck up. And if you see them fucking up 2-3 times in a row, then yeah, this thing's going to be a catastrophe. But I think this is the norm for this space. If you're going to do these ICOs, you got to do them through these exchanges now. It's just way easier. You don't have to worry about regulatory compliance and all that other crap, but they just do it for you. It's just too easy. And I think that's what's just going to keep moving this thing up.
The gods wish to destroy, first make drunk with power.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a lot of it. He's traveling all around the planet and meeting some very powerful people. I think he would be a good president for Binance. Oh, wait, he already is. All right, anyway.
Okay. And like anybody at TRI, for whatever it's worth, you should look at this chart. And if anybody in your family says, what should I buy some Binance coin? The irony of it all is, Ms. Guinea Pig, I'm going to be calling on you pretty soon. Can you see the W's? And what a coincidence. There's our old buddy, 78.6. I mean, if you do want to buy this thing, you have to look at it way down here, right? Chasing it up top here is this is just asking for trouble. So anyway, okay. Well, really, that should be all part of your plan, Colleen. And your reasons for selling should be well vetted ahead of time, really, even before you were buying it. But maybe we'll leave that conversation for your level 1 group. In fact, have you guys sort of gotten settled into James's and Garrett's 101 level 1 101 study group room? I thought that was really good, putting all that together. So, okay, so Cardano 1.5 mainnet. What's going on here? And actually, Cardano's been bucking the trend here, eh?
It does look good. They've launched their mainnet. Seems like everything's successful. They installed Daedalus, and or you can install Daedalus in this Cardano SL 3.0. And these are all network upgrades and things that are supposed to make this thing better and improved, including addressing things like performance and being able to render lists with large numbers of transactions and wallet addresses, just kind of the normal upgrades you'd like to see a network like this implement. And it seemed to go without much issue. How's the chart looking? Because I know we were talking about it a little bit ago, that it looked almost like it was going to break out.
Well, we had this little bullish bot working away here. And it has officially hit its move stop to scratch level. So anybody who took this big W for this bot, and I apologize for all my writing on the screen here, it looks like that's just rocking and rolling. And a trader's life, right? If you did buy this W, then if it craps out here, you got to walk away. But we just made another new high today. And it looks like it's well bid. This will actually be a clothesline breakout now. We change this to a line chart. Hopefully you can see that. There's the old closing high. So we're just flirting with this. Again, we could very easily see this whole damn market roll over after the Fed, though. So we can't assume that this has broken out. We got about, in fact, actually I have to get to a class here in 50 minutes, so we should probably wind this up pretty soon. But nonetheless, it is making higher highs and higher lows. So rah bull. And if we can close out above here, then this big honkin' AB equals CD becomes validated. And I think it's just a foregone conclusion. If we, not really an if, but when we ratchet up top here. So really important level, but the irony of it all is that you should be long if you were interested down in this area. And this was the piss off for me because I actually did this trade on Binance. And this is the Trex name. And I had bids working at this 38.2 to get in on that higher time frame bot level. And isn't this interesting? You see this higher time frame bot level, and look at this cute little W that just came in right basically at that level there, eh? And there might even be further little bots, right? You could probably even see like a 30-minute bot just off of that action. So, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull. But, way too late to be thinking about buying this now. That's sort of my technical spiel. But anyway, what's on your mind, sir?
Spiely sounds good to me. I'm looking at the one named Ethereum here. Yesterday I had a long position on. I was able to take partial profits at 50%, and then I got stopped. Wait, where did this thing end up? I took partial profits on this thing. I don't know when this thing ended up hitting, but I took like 25% off the table on one of these candles here, but I ended up getting stopped out on this overnight sort of move downward and then ricochet back up. So this is your typical stopwatch here. And it was pretty violent, right? This thing ended up coming all the way down, busted all these lows, but in the process, put in this bullish divergence, which is the weirdest looking thing I've seen, but it's potentially there. I guess we got to wait for this thing to confirm up here. And it's looking a little heavy, right? We keep testing 38.2, knocking our head. Okay, bye-bye 38.2, but right back to it. And the fact that we keep getting rejected, oh, my fibs are wrong anyway. So ignore all that. That was not accurate because these fibs aren't here. The problem here is that you've got this consolidation happening. You've got these like railroad tracks, right? Lots of indecision over the last 5 hours. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, call it. This thing looks like it's trying to break down. Problem that I have here is we've got these tails down in this area. 200 period moving average was like an interesting support level from a candle body close perspective, but I don't think it's giving us any clear signals. This is still very choppy. There is some range play that I'm seeing in this. I'm going to take a look at shorting this thing over the next couple of hours, looking for pullbacks probably into like the 132 area, if I have my fibs right. And this is just making things difficult. So I'm just going to delete all this stuff. What's that?
Was it just me who just disconnected? Did everybody stay on?
Yeah, it was just you.
Okay, cool. Sorry, everyone. I'll go back on mute.
Yeah, no problem. That seems to be happening here with Google. I don't know what their deal is. Yesterday I got kicked off. Anyway, I'm looking for this to come down a bit. I'm thinking 38.2 is probably where we're at now from those highs that we saw into that weird stop wash scenario. Come on here. There we go. So 38.2 sitting at 137. And then 200 period moving average is right around Mountain Man. I don't know if this is a great trade, but I like the tightness of this range here. And I also like the tightness of this setup. So it allows me to kind of treat this as a top. And what I would do is I'm just going to see if we've got a nice 2-to-1 on this trade. And if we do, then that would be a nice thing to fire off here and maybe bag just a little bit of profit. I'm not going to be risking too much. So really what you can do is just risk to the high of, and if you really want to be safe, you could risk to this candle body's, candle wick high here at 138. And your target, I mean, hell, even at 38.2, you're at a 2.35. And if you do right to 38.2, you're looking at a 2-to-1. So it's not that bad of a trade. It's just the problem is what setups are you going to use for this thing? I mean, you got an M in OBV, an M in RSI, and maybe you can call this an M in market structure if you're really psycho. But it's there, right? There it is on the line chart. You got your market structure top. If you really want to be crazy, I guess you could, or if you want to not be crazy, you can take off maybe half the position at 38.2 and then let the rest of it kind of go to, call it 61.8, because I kind of like that level in conjunction with like a tail popping off down there. And who knows, maybe you get lucky and the thing continues to eat this tail down here, but you can see it's a nice 4.5. So if this does break down, and I wonder if I'm actually losing a real trend line here. Do I have, yeah, so this thing lost it, recaptured it. So I'm going to say if we lose this trend line again, that's what I'm going to use to fire this thing off. I mean, really, I could fire it off now because this is a confirmed top here with this candle once it closes, and that's going to close in another 47 minutes. So I don't know if anyone has the patience for that, but I'm curious, what are the lower time frames looking like on this? And not really much of a difference, nothing solid on MACD. And then if you really want to be psycho, 15-minute, how is that looking? Yeah, it's on its way down. OBV's kind of, you see bull volumes or bear volumes trying to pop its head up a little bit. And then what are the higher time frames looking like, just so that we make sure we don't get ourselves in trouble where we should be looking for buying opportunities and not shorting opportunities? This just doesn't look so good. This looks like the beginnings of a reversal signal, kind of stair-stepping its way higher. A big warning sign, not so fast, comes back up, kicks out some of these stops here. Very washy, but to me looks like setting up a short trade. I had that long position on, but that I think is off the table now based on that action. And then daily, I guess I've probably been thinking short. Hell, I'm a bear. I probably think short every damn minute of the day. But yeah, nothing crazy on the daily that you can get excited about. So I think the hourly setup, you probably look to play that for maybe, I'll be looking to play it for the next 4 to 8 hours. And anything beyond that, I think is just squeezing juice out of a rock at that point. And as far as Bitcoin is concerned, I know Brian gave some levels. I just want to take a quick look at this with you guys live while I'm running through all these names, because it was interesting. The other thing that I should probably look at is those longs versus shorts, and those don't look like they're doing anything on Ethereum. And let's get that Litecoin chart loaded in the meantime. I'll put on a Bitcoin chart here. If there we go. So up here is the Bitcoin long short action. Even though I'm showing an Ethereum chart, this is still showing that action there. Let's get this playlist open and launch the Bitcoin chart. So we're sitting right at 4,000 on forwards. And I think Finex is at 4,100. So Finex has always had that sort of premium going in. It's interesting to see that shorts have come off. This is an hourly chart. Shorts on Bitcoin have come off, and I don't know, this looks really weird. I don't understand why shorts would be coming off. Maybe they got stopped out, or they reached a liquidation level on Finex. I wonder if the Finex level looks different, because that looks really suspicious to me. So maybe they got stopped out on these moves here. Someone cleared out the book. I mean, look how low those shorts are. That's really uncharacteristic. And longs have kind of popped out. I don't know if this is a noob level and some guy with too much money is kind of getting a little ahead of himself. But I mean, the problem here is the daily chart still looks bullish to me on Bitcoin, right? You've got this market structure bottom. You've retested the neckline a few times. And I don't know, this just kind of looks reminiscent of a bull move here, less so than a short move, at least on the daily. So let's see what the hourly setup looks like, because we had that set up on Ethereum. Does it look the same on Bitcoin? And it doesn't really look as nice, right? This is quite a bit different in terms of what we're seeing. It looks like last hour, Bitcoin did its own version of a stop run. And again, this is on Finex. So let's see if we have anything different on OKX.
Right across the board, eh?
What's that?
I saw they all painted this dump, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and I happen to have Ripple on here, but they all seem to did the exact same move, all in unison. So there must be some sort of, if anything, this almost feels like it's like program trading now. So, because like this big honkin' nutso candle here was right across the board. So it's not even like they are they're picking out one particular asset. They're hitting them all in unison, all at exactly the same moment. So
oh wow, that's really a cool visualization.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that this isn't just a Bitcoin trade. This isn't just an Ethereum trade. Somebody's program trading the whole damn space right now.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me because there looks like a slight difference in Ethereum versus Bitcoin, just looking side by side. And then Litecoin looks really shitty on your chart I'm talking about. But I kind of like, I don't know. I still like that short on Ethereum, and I'll just hop off. There's a nice tight stop on that one. But even the hourly Bitcoin chart looks bullish, right? You've got this kind of market structure bottom here. It's really ugly, quick up and down, but I think it's there nonetheless. And why the hell this thing isn't cooperating, I don't know. All right, here you go. There's your neckline, and then boom. So you can kind of see that this is your market structure bottom. And this is clear, right? This is not a lower low. This is a higher low. We're retesting the neck. We did retest the neckline. So this was my entry if I wanted to go long here. But the other problem is I don't have another reason for a trade, right? I don't have a clear-cut bull divergence other than maybe this here. So let's see if this...
I wonder if we zoom out on that, whether that might actually be a bot level.
Maybe. You do your bot level. I'm going to do the MACD illustration here. I'm going to see if I can get anything that makes sense, because the problem is this bull divergent. What's up?
Are you ready, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, I got this. So this is your MACD. This is where your bull div would come in, but you need confirmation above this line, right? Imagine this is your W. You got down, up. Here's your neckline. Come back down, second bottom. You need a break above this level in order to illustrate and confirm this MACD bull div. And we don't have that yet. So as far as a trade is concerned, you're only looking at price action as a reason. I don't see anything else clear cut here. So that to me means I got to default to Brian, because weren't we talking about something that looked like a bullish bot? Was that
this is on the screen right now. This is the chart from yesterday. And we talked, there is that bot entry level off of this bottom. And so remember yesterday somebody was asking, do we have 3 higher lows to actually justify the trade? And I said, well, there's your market structure level. There is the bot entry level. And fascinating how that railroad track event that we saw right across the board there happened right off that damn bot level. So I would say that this bot is alive. I agree with you. MACD is a little suspicious here, and we're not really getting anything out of sort of price momentum oscillators. But it is interesting to see that on this railroad track event, we had a breakout in volume to the upside right there. And, of course, OBV was pushed to new highs. And then just on this last candle, we actually had higher volume, right? That's 259,000. And this is, maybe not. That's awfully close. 259.97. And this is 259.862. It is not. So a little bit suspicious there in volume. That should have, if this was a bull, that should have broken out through the top there, and it did not. So, and then of course, Fed talk, all that kind of stuff. Are they laying a trap here? I don't know. Interestingly enough, had you taken this bot, you got to risk all the way down to 39.10. So sitting at 39.96, you got to be able to handle $86 of price drop here and not walk and still be in the trade. That's probably a little bit too much for a guy like you, eh?
Yeah, I'd probably not be able to do that one.
Yeah. So, this is a bigger one, and this is interesting. Just visually looking at this, I thought this was a breakout, but it's not a breakout in volume. If we actually start seeing the buyers back away here, this might be problematic. And as you pointed out just a moment ago, and I think this is really valuable information, the MACD, or basically our price momentum push, has not broken out here yet. And this actually is making lower highs as we go on here. So, this is probably more sort of commentary about, probably not a good idea to front run the Fed. Probably a lot of people in the market that are going to be trading this are going to wait for this price momentum oscillation to resolve itself. Okay, I really do have to get going. I got a lot of work to do before this class starts, so I'm going to have to hop here. I don't know whether, Thomas, do you want to keep talking to the audience, or maybe
I think we covered it. We seem to be blabbing away for 2 days in a row, so let's shut up and save something for tomorrow.
Okay, and of course, tomorrow will be post-Fed. And my hunch is this whole damn market, everything's going to look different.
Yeah, the charts are going to change completely. So take a screenshot now and compare them to tomorrow.
It's probably not a bad idea. Okay, let's leave it at that. Mr. Mayor, did we get your seal of approval?
Approval.
All right, let's watch the Kimchi Premium. And maybe what we might see is that actually nothing happens out of the Fed, and the Asians wake up after the Fed's done nothing, and they break Bitcoin out to the upside on Thomas's Gox resolution. Who knows? You can't write better fiction.
No resolution at all. No Gox.
No. Oh, okay. I thought you said you got a settlement or something.
No, it's just approval of the claim that I submitted. That means nothing.
Okay. Let's I think everybody should take away from this conversation. We're at a very delicate point here. Don't be shocked if price does have to come off here a bit. Don't be shocked. At the same time, too, higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. Let's go take out these 4190 highs here, and then we can all sort of feel comfortable that the bull is still firmly in control. Other than that,
firm.
Yes, firm, definitely. I think we'll leave it at that. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. I'll see all the level 3ers here shortly for your final exam. Well, I bet you they're excited. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best. And the only thing left for good old Brian to say here is a big bye for now.